We're now joined by Coach Bill Snyder from Kansas State. Coach, your thoughts about the upcoming season?
Well, not a whole lot to share with you, and we can go ahead and get started. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to be here. Been here longer than most of you, I think, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is. My respect to to our conference and those of you that cover our conference. We greatly appreciate that. I didn't get to hear Commissioner Bowlesby, but I have a great appreciation for him and what he has meant to our conference since he has stepped into the commissioner's role. I would ask that each and every one of you keep in mind and keep in your prayers and your thoughts a member of the Big 12 Conference who has meant a great deal to the conference and a great deal to me personally, Donnie Duncan. I think all of you, recognize the name. He's going through some very difficult times in his life right now, and as a stout supporter and member of the Big 12 Conference, he's been very special to our conference. We've got 4 young guys here, and you are supposed to. I think you'll have an opportunity to hear from them. All of them tremendous young people. Good teammates, good students, care about each other, care about doing things right. I think you'll find that. I hope each and every one of you get an opportunity to be in front of them, and I think you'll be impressed by the quality of character of those young guys. Good football players as well. Okay, that's...
Okay, we'll take questions. We'll start on the aisle, left side. On this side. Come around here, Amanda.
Coach, Scott Fritchen, GoBearcat.com. I saw where you have 7 quarterbacks listed on your roster, and I don't recall ever seeing 7 quarterbacks on a Bill Snyder roster before. Upon going through the entirety of spring, I was wondering if you could assess the quarterback spot right now, and then also the summer transfer, Jonathan Banks, what he possesses and how he might fit into the mix.
Well, yes, we do have 7 quarterbacks, Scott. I think probably 4 of them at this particular point in time, in my eyes anyway, should be competitive for the position. We will go into our proverbial 2-a-day practices with that in mind. It's hard to get all the repetition that you would like with 4 guys sharing the opportunities, so it will be significant for us to be able to pare that down as quickly as we possibly can. I don't know how fast that will be. Right now they're all on equal footing. The 3 of them went through spring practice. A young guy that you mentioned, Jonathan Banks, has just recently joined us, a very athletic young guy. We haven't seen him in a practice environment yet, so that remains to be seen. But he will be, one of the 4 probably that will be certainly in competition for the position. I think they're all good young guys. They all care. They're all good teammates. They all do things the right way. They all want to succeed. So I think it'll be very competitive. It's just a matter of being able to sort it out as quickly as we can.
Question on the aisle, right side.
Kevin Haskin, to be Capital Journal. Over here, Bill.
Where are you at, Kevin?
Right here.
I got you. Okay.
Regarding the Big 12's new rule restricting live contact, what do you think of the rule? Has the amount of contact in your practices changed over the years, and how much do players need to have contact to get acclimated to games?
Well, I would think that you have to have some. It doesn't. It will not affect us because the rule, as I define it, as it is in place right now, and we've had discussions of that in our conference meetings, is identical to what our needs are. So, it doesn't alter anything that we have done, so we don't have to make any changes in that respect. I like the way we do our practices. We've been doing them the same way for a long time. It plays out to favor, what we do, I think.
We got a question on the side. Barry, hand up.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman on your left, Bill, over here.
Okay, Barry.
A lot of talk about expansion the last few weeks got risen up again. You've long advocated for a championship game, no matter what the conference format is. How do you stand on expansion? Do you feel like the league needs to get back to 12, or is 10 okay as long as you have a championship game?
Well, let me try, Barry, to answer it this way. I've long been an advocate, of a certain way, and only because of its value to Kansas State. I mean, everybody has different opinions about it, and I understand that. We all have to think about, collectively the conference and certainly our own programs and our own universities. I have always favored, the way, it was at one time. I favor a 12-team conference. I favor 2 divisions, and I favor a championship game. You might remember that, when we had that format, we were one of only 2 teams that played a game in December, and that was one of only 2 conferences. That was the Big 12 Conference and the SEC. Now we're the only conference that does not, do that and have that particular format. I know it's hard to come by with being a 10-team conference, but and as I said, I understand. Everybody doesn't want to do it that way, and they all have very adequate reasons why they would not want to do it that way because of what it means to their particular programs. That's just my opinion.
Got a question on the front, second row, right in front of you, Coach, over here on the right-hand side. Put your hand up, please. Thank you.
Coach Chris Buckner from Fan React. Clearly, you are very passionate about your fan base, and your fan base is extremely passionate about Kansas State football. In light of all this awesome new renovations that y'all have going on right now, can you just talk to how important that fan base is to making Kansas State so special?
Well, it goes back to, the history, I think, as much as anything. When we went to Kansas State University in '89, Kansas State University was a step away from being eliminated from what we, define as Division I football at the time. And we had an average attendance of 13,000, give or take. And there was an NC2A rule in place at the time that indicated that to be a Division I team, you had to have an average attendance of 19,000. So there was discussion in the Board of Regents of what to do, move to a lower level or drop football altogether. Both were on the table, and our fans stepped up, and we went above the necessary number the first season, and every year from there on out we've grown, and we've learned to play in front of sellout crowds for quite some time now, and the fans have been, they're wonderful. They care about the young people in our program. I have a great appreciation for that. They care about them as young people, not just win or lose guys. They're not nameless. They're young guys that I believe they're good young guys. Our fans believe they're good young guys, and they appreciate very much, the kind of young people that we have in our program. That's what's important to me. We haven't always been, we've had some years that have been, what some would consider to be down years, and the fans have been there, for all of these young guys. And in this day and age, that's somewhat rare, and I appreciate it a great deal. Wonderful people. You might remember. Several years ago when Pete Carroll was at USC and Kansas State played, we played out in the Coliseum one year, and then the following year they came back and played us in Manhattan, and Pete Carroll went on one of the national TV shows after the ball game and said the most intimidating crowd we have ever played in front of in his history at USC, and that I thought that was saying something. And I'm just so proud of them. They are, it says family on that stadium, And, you know, my personal family, certainly that's for them. But it is also for, you know, the Kansas State family, because I consider them personal family as well. They're wonderful people.
We got a question on the aisle, and then we'll go to the back.
Hey, Coach. Kellis Robinette here with the Wichita Eagle. Other way.
Put your
Over
hand
here.
up,
There
and
we
that'll
go.
help. Thank you.
Here.
I can't see out of here.
There we go.
Okay, there we go, Kellis.
Dante Barnett's been getting a lot of preseason attention. He's on a number of awards watch list. How has he been handling that, and what is it about him, do you think, that will allow him to kind of handle that top billing as a leader on your defense?
Well, I appreciate you saying it that way, because that's exactly the way it has to take place. I mean, you know, as I've said to, you know, each one of those young guys, or alluded to, is, you know, it's wonderful. I've said, you know, congratulations on, you know, being selected on this watch list, that watch list, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, that's not the significant thing. The important thing is, you know, will you work hard enough? Will you make it important enough to you to earn it in the light that is expected of you, which is to be a great teammate and make it about the team and not about yourself. And he is a young guy like the rest of them, you know, who I think will do exactly that. You know, I think he cares more about, you know, the accomplishments of his collective team and his teammates than he does about his own. You know, I have great appreciation for that. There's a humility there. You know, Dante can, you know, he's a very confident young guy, and I appreciate that a great deal. But by the same token, you know, humility is is part of his makeup, and I appreciate that a great deal as well. But I also believe that, you know, that it's deserved, you know, because he has been, aside from the other things, he's been a fine player as well.
All the way back on the camera platform in the middle, Coach.
Hey, Coach. John Moss, ABC in Tulsa, up here in front of the cameras. I was going to ask about Dante as well. When he showed up to campus, was he a natural leader, or is that something that you've seen progress in his time there?
I think he's progressed into it. You know, it's not something that he, not that he, you know, I'm not a big believer that, you know, people are natural this and natural that. I think you develop the capacity to lead, you know, for the most part, and I think over a period of time he has done that. You know, we try to promote leadership with the young guys as soon as they step foot on our campus. You know, it's, you know, I hear too often, you know, you've got X number of seniors and that's where your leadership lies. You know, I think you have to help develop young guys from the very beginning, from the outset, you know, because leadership's going to be important for them. With their family, with their career field, and so many other aspects of their life, as well as it is, you know, for football. So, you know, that's part of our responsibility to help encourage and help create a foundation for the development of leadership with all the young guys we have.
Question on the right side. Put your hand up. Thank you.
Cameron Brock with Heartland College Sports. Coach Snyder, you say that you're in favor of conference expansion. Which teams do you see as viable options for the conference if they, in the future, choose to do so?
Well, I haven't gotten into that. You know, I do the easy part of it. You know, I can identify, you know, issues. You know, solutions another story. You know, and I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to be part of making this, you know, answering the question or providing solutions. You know, if I could, I probably, if asked, you know, I certainly would try to help. I don't have any, I don't have enough background information because I don't venture in that direction. I don't want to get sidetracked from what we do, you know, so I really couldn't tell you. I think there's probably some, you know, I hear the schools that are mentioned, you know, from time to time, and I think all of them are mentioned for a reason. And, you know, obviously they have fine programs, good universities. You know, but I don't have a favorite or two favorites, and I don't know, you know, I don't know where where all that would go. You know, I think I would say this, you know, I think there is probably, you know, some universities out there that haven't necessarily been mentioned for maybe some obvious reasons that might have an interest in being a part of our conference. But I don't know that, you know, for fact. So I don't really have, you know, a great response or great answer to that.
Okay, we got a question. Kirk, put your hand back up on the left-hand side. We need to get the microphone to him, and then we'll come back over to the right.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American. Bill, I don't know how much longer you're going to coach, but do you think in the next 10 or 20 years, have you thought about a second career and anything?
Well, I get asked, some type of question that alludes to that quite frequently. And, it was, when I retired, I missed football probably for about 6 months. And after that, I didn't. I truly didn't. I mean, I was enamored by it, but I didn't miss it. And I had the opportunity to do a lot of things that I really enjoyed doing. We initiated Kansas Mentors, which is a statewide mentoring initiative that was significant for me and what was important to me. We initiated the Kansas Leadership Center, which was significant to our state, which is important to me, and I was heavily invested in the Kansas State University Leadership Studies program, which is and I helped initiate, and it's very important to me as well. I was invested in those things as well as more family time, and I enjoyed that. And when I was asked to come back, that was not an easy decision to make. Most people think you missed it so much you had to be back, and that was not the case at all. And it took me, as I've indicated, probably around 6 months to make the decision to come back. And the reason I came back was because of what I perceived anyway to be the capacity to help guide and direct young people to become successful in life and to help create a value system or implement a foundation for the rest of their lives. And that has always been my highest priority in coaching, and that had more to do with me coming back than anything else.
This is going to be the final question on the right side. Brian, put your hand up.
Hey, Coach, Brian Baldinger from Fox Sports. I'm sure that the Bill Snyder family is really, really interested in what's going to happen at this quarterback position. You've told us that as many as 4 could be involved in the competition. My question to you, Coach, is can you envision a scenario where maybe you platoon quarterbacks or play 2?
It's possible. We've done it. When we had 2, it's not my favorite thing to do, and I don't exclude anything. Most people wouldn't. But that's not our intent at this particular point in time. Our intent is just exactly as I had indicated, is try to sort through what we have and work our way into a position where we have a quarterback. But if you followed our program, you've seen us play 2 quarterbacks. You've seen us play 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. So we have a lot of things that we can do in that respect. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is I concur with what most people would say. If you're better served to have 1 than 2. You can define that a lot of different ways. I'm pleased that we have 4, but we do have to have a number 1 out of those 4, and that's the direction we're trying to go.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much for your comments, and good luck for the season.
Thank you all very much.